It's been an eventful week, of course, and this is your favorite show, the show that brings you the biggest conversation, the biggest event of the week. And I'm very happy that one of our senior most hosts, the beautiful Masita.
Masita. I thought you were Luya,
Masita.
even you.
Hey,
Yes.
welcome back. Where have you been?
I've been to my home. So you know, as Luyas, when you get married, unaenda kabisa, we are very paternal. So I went to my home.
Where have you been?
In Budapest. I was in
Budapest.
Budapest, which is the capital city of Hungary. By the way, Hungary was the first country to call Kenya and congratulate Kenya when we first got independence.
CD1.
The first to recognize Kenya as an independent country.
Okay, of course, This is Dr. Catherine Masisa. We are back. This is Let's Be Real, the biggest conversation. And as usual, let's do the introductions. I'm your host, CEO Charles Otieno, alongside the most beautiful team.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Catherine Masisa. I'm a winemaker, Samantha Wines. I hope you are all enjoying Samantha Wines. Go and pick, it's a Spanish wine, Kenyan brand. Pick yourself a bottle and let me know how it goes.
I'm Lisa Christopherson, and it's always a delight to be here. Entrepreneur, interior designer, rally driver, and one of the real housewives of Nairobi, alongside Dr. C here.
You're very colorful today, Lisa, by the way. That outfit.
Yes, I love the
ooh.
color.
It's Friday.
Hey, you're popping.
You're popping now.
You came out popping.
Yes.
And I'm the burst of energy that comes on Let's Be Real. My name is indeed Simon Says, and I'm indeed a content creator that makes you content makes you smile and think at the same time. That's me. And I'm also a podcast host. Nice to be here once again. Although I was not here last week.
Where were you last week, by the way,
Well,
Simon?
sometimes I'm lost, nowhere to be found. But I was handling client business. That's what I was doing.
Busy.
Yes, exactly.
Making
Right.
money.
You got to. And this is you got to make that money, not counterfeit. Where? Not wash. Not there yet.
At least you have a real business you're doing.
Exactly, you got
Yeah,
it.
I was
Legit.
also not here Friday.
Oh, you're also handling business.
No, I was on safari. I was up in Samburu, sitting along the Iwaso River, watching the elephants swim and enjoy themselves.
Wow.
Wow.
You're
Okay, of
living the
course.
life.
Life is so amazing. That's my name.
Lisa.
That's it. There it is.
Yeah.
So let's take it off.
Yeah, go ahead.
Lisa,
Oh, very
kindly.
interesting story.
So as a rally driver, that's part of our sports. It is one of our sports, and it's one of the biggest sports in Kenya. We've just had the World Rally Championship happen in Naivasha in June, and there are many other rallies happening, and our CS Ababu is trending right now in the media with a lot of topics, a lot of controversial subjects have been discussed around him. And I'd like to know what you all think, what is happening with Ababu right at the moment, and why is he the main focus in Parliament?
Well, first of all, isn't this part of, like, for example, the administration even saying that now cabinet secretaries, you will be summoned, you will be called, and you actually now have to actually hold yourself accountable to the action that have actually been happening within your ministry. But then now here's the thing. I like that indeed. The intriguing thing is, why was he the first one to actually now start this process? And then this other thing is, it's only been 10 months. And then now people are already starting to prick here and there. That means now friction is already starting to, like, now get you in your place. Like, if you start now, are you bringing in people to certain things when they're not even supposed to be part of that process? Are you now bringing in extra people to just come along? Like, what is this that's going on? Are there being mismanagement of
But
funds?
for example, it's not just the funds they're talking about. One of the subjects they're talking about is that the athletes are given fake so-called uniforms.
Yeah.
The tracksuits that they're given are Nike. And actually, I have to say, I was given one last year by Waziri, as I was meant to be driving in the Rebel Rally in the US together with my fellow rally driver, Pauline Shegu. So we were given the Nike tracksuit, and I was looking at it. I'm like, it is Nike. I would actually not know if it was counterfeit or not. But that is one of the subjects. Is it Adidas? Is it Nike? Are they fake? Do they buy them on River Road? Or are they actually given them by Nike?
But that is something that is so easy to prove. That you can get whoever bought them and wherever they bought And are they authorized distributors? If they bought from a distributor, Adidas just launched the other day here. Nike, I don't know, but it's something that is so easy to lay this thing down to rest. And because they are buying in large numbers, those are not numbers that we can get it approved, like the company to say, yes, they are real. For me, that is not the problem. And by the way, the athletics just was happening in Budapest. So as I was leaving, I could see a lot of Kenyans were landing, and yeah. So I have two problems. And I think where there is smoke, there is fire. So our athletes, we know that athletics is big. It puts us on the map. When we win, we are on the map. So these people have to be recognized. And so if what is being said is true, that he was not there to even meet them, they are going with the business class, our runners are going with the economy. Nothing wrong with is wrong with the economy, but if they are going to arrive tired and not in proper shape, that is a problem. The fact that he couldn't even meet them, it shows where he has misplaced priorities. But my big problem is this. So the other day, I'm in a WhatsApp group, and I see all of us really surprised. It's a film producers group. And we see some people are being honored. And these are big-time film producers. As you know, I'm a producer. I produce I'm a TV producer. So I can produce films, I can produce all these things. And I work with a lot of creative people. Everyone is as shocked. Nobody seems to know anything. People like, there was a lady, Kibinge, who is
Judy Kibinge.
Yeah, who is one of the very well-known. I remember she was mentioning in the group that somebody had called her and asked her some details about herself because she was going to be honored. So the next thing, we are just seeing, I think at Safari Park, people are being honored. We don't even know who these people are. And for me, it looked like these people are just going through the motions. Because as a country, so we were asking ourselves, so yeah, you're honoring people. What is the process? Like, how did you select? Are you going through the motions to show that you had an event? You spend the money? And what are the numbers? And who are those people in the room? Like, these are questions that bring questions on your integrity. Those are integrity issues. So I think where there's smoke, there's fire. He needs to be investigated.
Do you know, I was actually invited to that event.
Yeah.
At Safari Park Hotel, and it was recognizing the legends. Who are the legends? And it was predominantly, from what I understood, the Safari Rally driver legends, like Patrick Njiru. He's a legend. Joginder Singh was a legend. I did not go to that event, and I'm actually grateful because I saw all kinds of names that I've never heard of before. I'm like, who are these people? I don't know who they are. But I would also like to say something here that I'm with you here, Catherine, is that both of us have been on Real Housewives of Nairobi. And film falls under Waziri Ababu's docket. And I was actually at the Talenta Hela initiative launch at State House in June. And they were talking about Hollywood producers coming to Kenya in November to looking for potential sites to come and shoot movies here, which would be fantastic. I texted Waziri and I said, do you know the Real Housewives of Nairobi is an international show? It is the first time Kenya is owning their very, very own reality show. Why is there no recognition?
That is of Hollywood standard.
It is NBC Universal, it's Hollywood here, guys. Why has Kenya not recognized and take ownership and be proud? We have our very, very own international reality TV show. Waziri wrote back to me on WhatsApp, commendable.
And then now I also want to mention, when you're talking about, I want to talk about when you're talking about the Real Houses of Nairobi. So the US ambassador, when she was, even during the governor's meeting, and then also during when there was a big US something happening early this year. I can't remember what
it was. At the Chambers of Commerce.
The American Chamber of Commerce. That brings together businesses from all over the world coming to invest in Kenya that are American, but also the Kenyan businesses. And when you look at their manifesto, why Africa and why Kenya, the Real Housewives of Nairobi is one of the shows that are being mentioned. And film is one of those recognizing that America is who they are because of film, one of the things. And it's what is recognized. How can he not know? How can he not know?
Yeah, Ambassador
But I
Meg
think-
Whitman actually mentioned that in that speech. Somebody sent me that speech, and she said even the U.S. ambassador recognizes that Nairobi, the city we call home, recognizes the Real Housewives of Nairobi as an international brand.
Yes.
I think what this issue, I would like to prosecute it in 3 dimensions. Ababu Namwamba seems to have eaten someone's goat in African setting. And when you eat a man's goat, the man will come for you. So why am I saying Ababu seems to have eaten someone's goat? The first thing is that the war with Ababu is a larger war in Kenya Kwanza. It is what I call the war within. These people, if you read On Among Thieves, is that when you come into a group of people who have one ideology, and most of the thieves who are people who had been taken for crimes or robbing or stealing, and they come together, there's always a friction point. And it has reached that point now. We have that friction point. One is that Talanta Hela is a big money-making thing. Many people, and that's why you look at the accusations where they're coming from Kenya Kwanza. They're not coming from the opposition. It is because everyone wants a piece of that pie. This money is supposed to be put for the youth to engage to better their lives with. So there's a kitty there. This kitty, Ababu controls it. The people in this current government want a slice of it. So the war has begun. So they want to disorient this guy out of it. But Ababu has not even helped himself also.
Yeah, he's sorry to cut you short.
He's just 10 months in.
No.
Yeah. Why is he shooting himself
He's
in the
shooting
foot?
himself in the foot because Ababu is also known, for one, he's a very arrogant guy. Ababu is extremely arrogant. And he has a lot of heirs. So, and the other part which he likes, only a certain number of people around him. And you know the people we are talking about. So, these people, that's why when he formed his first organization, people ask him, who are these characters you're putting in this thing? Oh, so apparently you find a few guys have been named. Churchill was there. There are some girls I don't want to mention who are in that group. So you ask them for their achievement. You don't know what they have achieved in the country just because they are youth, because they're on TikTok. So people are saying, when you're selecting a panel to represent the youth, can't you pick people with character, substance, to represent the whole nation? So that one of course he shot himself in the foot. Let's move to this sports thing. Kenya has a deal with Nike to provide us with apparel for the national teams. So if Gladys Boshole's accusations are true, then we'll ask, where are they wearing Adidas? We do not have an apparel kitting agreement with Adidas. We have with Nike. So any other outfit which we wear for our national event must be Nike. It runs for 10 years. So anything else beyond that is not recognized because we have that agreement. It is a NOC versus Nike agreement, National Olympic Committee. And then let's move to these film industries. Ababu has been doing so many things. He tries to engage with, starts up an award without engaging the stakeholders. He wakes up in today and decides, today we want to honor footballers, the legends. He calls a few people. The other day he called some sports journalists and gave them some money. So I was asking, how are you operating, young man? You cannot operate in a vacuum and this is what he's bringing all. I'm saying Ababu is his own best enemy because he does things without looking at the long time and exit plans. When you want to do an event or you want to do things, involve the stakeholders first. And then involve anyone else who is supposed to give you the right direction. He has mismanaged it through his organization skills. And secondly, that's why I said he must have eaten someone's goat. So when we say in all American saying, the chickens are coming home to roost, and they're coming home to roost very fast. If he does not change, things will catch up with him. And they're going to catch up with him very soon.
But I have to also say one thing here, sorry to interrupt, is that I know that he knows I founded the Lioness Rally. It's all about women, empowering women, and encouraging women to take charge and say, yes, I can enter a male-dominant sport such as rallying, you know. And this year, Ababu himself supported 4 women's teams, including Carol Gatimu and her 18-year-old daughter as her navigator. It was fantastic. And that's what we want to see. And he was there supporting. He made sure that these women were supported, and the funding did come from one of the vehicles was a Pure Talenta Hela vehicle. And it was them that actually funded it.
So he is doing something.
He is doing
So
something.
there is something that's actually being done. I think that now the issue is now what you mentioned about now behind the scenes that he's actually now tugged the wrong place now. Does that even mean now, because the assumption that now, because he has started this way and he surrounded himself with people that he trusts, because when you actually get in a position of power, you surround yourself with people you can actually trust to implement the policy, the given direction that you actually want to take, Talenta Hela, be it now the film industry or so on and so forth. Now, when you actually surround yourself with that now, and then other people outside come, then engage some bureaucracy. You know, you're mentioning that how you're not supposed to engage other corporate stakeholders. That's not where bureaucracy comes in. And that's not why you have to cater to other people. And now, okay, so now maybe CEO wants this way. No, but Catherine wants this. Then now they tug and pull. And all this tug and pull leads to what? Lack of implementation of some things. That's not my defense towards that, because when you I think it's only 10 months in. Like, for example, let's hold up for a second. Let's chill. Like, it's 10 months in, okay? Like, let's chill for a second. Like, we're over, even maybe the devil's advocate. I understand all these other complaints. But it's literally now just coming in and trying to lay the infrastructure towards now building that, towards the policy that he actually wants to
Ababu has
implement.
been a minister for sports before.
Yes, yeah.
Isn't it?
Yes,
Let's break this thing down. In the earlier government, Ababu was minister for sports, culture, and all this. He's not a newcomer in cabinet, right?
Indeed.
Secondly, the same gentleman has been in this government long enough to understand. And the Ministry of Sports is one of the most funded ministries. Hassan Wario, the ex-sports minister, was jailed because there's a lot of money in that ministry. 2013, 2017, yes? So we know what you're talking about. We know people are fighting for that kitty. And this kitty, that's why our sportsmen are going without either their allowances, because people are taking, other characters are flying first class. So we are not talking about a newcomer into the government, the 10 months notwithstanding.
And that gave him the qualifications to be appointed, you know.
Yes. So you're not a new, it's not someone's eyes who is going to be Minister of Sports. Am I clear?
I get what you mean.
Yeah.
I get what you mean. Even when you mentioned even about he's not a newcomer and everything, even I understand even the aspect of like even how the sports people are not even being treated, because even I know for a fact even playing even in high school, even in the States, even normal sports, even I can see how even my own sports team going from a state to another state is probably even treated a little bit even better than even a whole national Kenyan team, even as you go. I understand that aspect of it all, but what I say is that slow down your horses, because he's getting a lot of pushback from another end. He has to balance both aspects just because he's 10 months in. And even if there's a political aspect to every single thing, especially when you get into the cabinet secretary sort of thing. Why are you shaking your head left and center?
I'm shaking it. For me, the whole downer here is that whether you have budgets or not, if I was Ababu and I completely have no budget for our sports people who are going to Budapest for that competition, I would even meet them in my house, make tea, like the tea. Kericho tea.
Chai,
yes. Yes, meet them. I would go with them. I would just make sure they know
they have the support,
that they are valued and they're supported. This guy had no time to meet them. Not even to meet them at the airport, not even to escort them. Then whose time do you have? Like how can you even be misled to have some random people in a room at Safari Park surely, who are these people advising you? So me, from where I'm sitting, I'm just like, okay, these people just want to show some entry. And then there, of course, people then begin to think. So it's just, no. I feel whether there's politics, you're being hunted or something like that, then you become more careful. I feel it's not correct. Anyway, moving on swiftly, I want to talk about the bilateral partnerships we've been signing as a country. The other day at State House, we saw, we signed a partnership with the UK government where we are sending nurses to go and work there, about 70 nurses, 76 nurses being sent. So a couple of people have been asking the question that do we even have enough nurses to send in terms of the medical field? And what is even the criteria that is being used to send these people, the nurses? So,
you know, I would say, I look on the side that this is a wonderful opportunity, for example, for young nurses to go abroad and gain experience and learn from another country and come back with added qualifications to Kenya. So I think from the flip side, I would say it's a good thing that they go, and it gives them jobs. You know, it's very hard right now. The economy is very tough here in Kenya, and there are not enough jobs for everybody. So if they could get jobs other way in the world, it's a fantastic opportunity.
Actually, one thing I know for a fact is in the UK right now, I had even a nurse's as a client in the UK for digital marketing, that is. UK right now, they're actually protesting. They're actually protesting about the way even they're being treated over there. So even this could be even a counter argument. Let's get even other people to compensate even for this little bracket that we actually have, even as the UK. And also even in Kenya, the same time that they were announcing this 72 that are going, then now there was another announcement that was like, why are we sending out, and yet the government even had said that we should have around 12,000 nurses being employed since the year 2017, like every single year we should have actually employed this many people, and yet there's so many nurses out there who are actually even having a hard time finding placement, and they're graduating from various universities, finding placement to actually even a place to actually work. And if you see even the people that are actually even getting the type of placement even to go, are people who have had experience, people who have had some time in the nursing field within Kenya. So it's not necessarily the people who are actually even getting entry, it's the people who have actually been around, people are actually getting a little bit of experience, then now they're being told, okay, cool, you need to be part of this program, and actually now go on to the UK, because of course, you don't want to export, a workforce that you probably don't have like a little bit more credibility and even more expertise in. That's kind of like even how they even in Kenya go about it. Because what you're doing is exchanging workforce full of experience to become more useful in the UK as a part of an agreement. So that's the biggest friction. Now the biggest friction will also come in when someone's looking at you now. I've been unemployed. And you know, getting a nursing degree, that means you have to be someone who's smart. You have a head on your shoulders. And I've dated a nurse before, so I know this. So that's you have a head on your shoulders. So this is something I can actually speak on. So, and I know even the plight that they actually go through, and all the real work that they actually do, changing, and a whole bunch of things. Even they're constantly being treated, overworked. Your shifts are this. Oh no, please work over this. You're doing all this, and there's a lot of bureaucracy involved in between. But even that aspect of things. So when you start looking, and everybody's looking for that placement. And ask all the nurses when they're getting in, what are they looking for? Are there UK opportunities, US opportunities, Australia? Can I actually get a placement outside? Because what? I cannot see myself staying within the realms of Kenya. So that's even a big issue, especially when it comes to even employment purposes. Even I would say is, yes, you're exporting. What are y'all doing to the average nurses actually doing out here that's graduating in various universities or getting out here?
I think that Kenya has signed very many agreements. And as it stands, our remittances from people abroad stands at 4 billion. In the East and Central Africa, I looked at our finances and I find that the money Kenya gets from as remittances from their workforce abroad, which comes in, is 4 billion US dollars by now. Uganda is around 2 billion less. Ethiopia is around 600 million. Tanzania is around 1.2 billion. So Kenya has, that means Kenya has a bigger workforce abroad. That's why our remittances is so big as compared to any other neighbor we have. 4 billion is the highest in East and Central Africa or from the other countries which get money from abroad. This nursing thing, I don't have an issue with it. Why? Because the way our economy is set up today, it is very hard to get a decent job. We have so many girls who are looking for opportunities they can't get, they're unemployed, they're paid very little money. If you go to Mbagathi Hospital, you find the amount of money those nurses are paid. You'll really cry. It's peanuts. People are really, really poorly paid. So if you get an opportunity to go and better your life, for me, I don't have a problem. Just go and get yourself something. Where I have a problem is Kenya sending people to Haiti.
Haiti, we're actually sending people there.
The police force.
Police. That's where I have a problem. Americans have decided that they'll use Kenya to go and manage for them the affairs of Haiti. When they were seeing Haiti falling, they didn't actually go there to help it. So now you want to take our Kenyan policemen in a country where we do not have enough policing, crime is everywhere, and you take to Haiti. Are you real?
Wow.
To do what? Are we going to export our characters who know only to get money from people?
Tear gas.
Tear gas and all this. The nurses are professional, we can send out. But our policemen, no, we can't.
No, that I agree.
Well, with the problem with the policemen, I think they are going to take their game higher. What's going on in Haiti, you know, that crime rate is so, you know, you're just going to import. When they come back, they'll take this crime higher. But that said, for me, in terms of taking Kenyans, I think when you look at a lot of nations, even where I just came from Budapest, you know, the birth rate is minus 4%. They've really been trying to work at it. Now it's even gone to minus 6%. So now they're having to import lots of Pakistanis. They get trained to get jobs because the Hungarians themselves, they want higher paying jobs and they're leaving the country for higher opportunities. So Europe has that problem. You want people who are experienced, people you can pay, and people who can. So they are getting people from other places to do the kind of jobs maybe the Britons don't want to do, and they are. And the medical, let me talk about the medical field there.
Yeah.
It is so strict. If you get sick, even as a tourist, or even somebody who lives there, you need to get into the raw. Unless it's such an emergency that you're going to the emergency unit, you have to book and wait for a month. Or even people die waiting, by the way, waiting to be served because they are very strict. Anything that is prescription, you must get. You know, they don't dispense from the pharmacy the way we do here. So therefore, they need more people. But what am I saying? That I think so, to train nurses, doctors, and even vets, it is so expensive. Sometimes you're looking at the cost of training, yeah? If the cost of training is too high, and then how are you going to beef up that gap that is there? If you ask me, I think it's cheaper for the country. We pay these people very, very well, especially with a certain experience. Pay them so well, because we are still got the money that we make from remittances. We are still going to lose it by having to train more people. And so why don't we remunerate them really, really well? But that said, there's countries like Israel where there's more Israelis, Jewish people out of Israel than they are
In Israel.
in Israel themselves. And I think maybe even for Kenya, we need to have more Kenyans outside of Kenya than there are.
Kenya.
Look at Nigerians. There's so many Nigerians now on the global market, like in America, and you know, like the owner of Access Bank, the Nigerian. He grew up in Nigeria. He was working for these big companies in the banking sector. He came back. A lot of them are going back and changing Nigeria. So it may not be a bad thing. I think we should have more Kenyans going out there in whichever form, and then they come back now to rebuild the country.
Absolutely.
Here's the only pushback I'll give to that. Let's be smart in the way we export our workforce, in the sense that don't export what we primarily need to actually develop our country. When you export now the very thing that makes us even want to grow and develop, what happens is now you can also say, yes, go out there and do your nursing. Or you think everybody wants to come back to Kenya? Or you think that everybody wants to always bring back the resources here? Not always. That's not always the case. There may be some cases, and then only the cases will be, it will be more or less the economic aspect where they maybe just sending money to their family and relatives, not necessarily bringing the brain wealth. So even if there's that aspect of what? Brain drain, and hence now the nation now loses medically. And even when you're mentioning about even exporting now the police force, you say that they may get better. No, they may come back jaded and say, hey, how about Kenya at least, we're at least, you know, let me just continue with my tear gas over there. I've seen it, but there's also that aspect. And then that goes back even to the leverage of now, what leverage do we have on the table when it comes to that bilateral talks in saying that, okay, yes, you will give us this, but now we'll also need this from you. How can we even now begin better leverage and actually have a bit of better discussion on what we actually export out there?
I think we're right that it is bad to export all your talent if your cost of training is higher. But remember that brain drain was there in the 80s, 90s. I don't think we have it now. Kenyans are highly qualified. Yeah, Africans absolutely. Are highly qualified that the economics, my good professor Nyandemo was teaching us, the brain drain is no longer there in Africa. We have too much people with better knowledge in-house than we need even here. We have enough resources that we can even export to those countries without actually having that brain drain anymore, because we have expended a lot of time in training. The only problem is that we must always have a way of retaining some of them so that we don't lose the training, what Dr. C is saying. I think let's move on to the next topic. The next topic, away from education, away from the nursing, and let's come back home. No, to the Madi Ngara issue.
Madi. You don't know, you know Madi.
Ngara.
And that's a personal story. Continue.
You know, it is very interesting that last week, one of the biggest stories in this country was a woman who was arrested because of, they found 13 million in her house in Ngara with narcotics. Of course, let's call them bang marijuana and all that. Then apparently, she was not the woman they were looking for. So 2-3 days later, the outcry from the public actually knew this Madi. Then they decided to arrest now the other lady who they think is now the real Madi Ngara. It's a different, if you look at the two women, they are totally different in the look. The other one is a big, plumpy and big here. The other one is very small and light, and this one is dark. So I did not understand how the police could confuse the two individuals in the first place. A plump lady and a thinner one. A light lady and a darker one. You cannot see the difference. Then if you look at these two women, for sure, if you come to an MP's house, even I go to Dr. C's house today, I won't get 13 million in cash. Even in Lisa's house today, 13 million.
So they actually counted 13 million cash.
So is it worth of marijuana, not necessarily the cash itself? Was
no,
the cash itself?
There was marijuana and there's cash, 13 million. So I was asking, in Ngara.
Yes. You did not know this?
I was shocked.
Do you know how big is 13 million?
No, here's the thing. Do you know who Madi is? That's a legend, like way back in the day. Even I will not lie to you. I've
like you never
about Madi for the longest time.
I was hearing for the very first time.
That is not news. Like for many people, I would, okay, let me explain to you, let me inform you guys.
Yes.
So Madi is a legend, first of all.
Yes.
She is actually a legend. That's actually something that even people talk about. Fig tree around that area.
Yes.
If you know, you know, you know. So the main thing is, what happens...
Are you a member of the 420 club?
420?
Yes.
It depends. Meet me at 421.
What is 420? What's 420?
I went to campus. Just so you know, I went to campus.
You're not one of her clients, are you?
I have no idea what you're talking about. But but the main thing is, when you actually, because if you're any campus person would tell you, they know about Madi, even when you know about Fig Tree in that area, that is something even, it was common knowledge amongst many campus guys, literally, even amongst even my time. So main thing is, when it comes even to her, I'm like, she is known about this. Even I've heard stories of how even cops are in her playbook, everything is already lined up. She lines up everything's pockets. Then now if anything needs to be delivered, she has a system laid down and everything. This is a businesswoman. This is a true Kenyan Pablo Escobar. And there should be actually a movie made out of this. Ababu Namwamba by their film, maybe more to think about that. We know literally now, because literally that might be something interesting, but Madi literally has been there for a while. This is not breaking news for a lot of people who know our ground. But the main thing is how she looks like. I would never know. I never met her face to face, but I know about her and even who she is, even what she does. This is not like something that's foreign to us, unless maybe it's just brought news to you guys. But this has been constant knowledge. Any campus person knows about her, literally, and it's literally common knowledge about Madi and everything. Now, capturing her, I think that's a political thing. Someone's trying to do something, and I think there's also some back end integrity on this thing. I'm being honest. Because how do you confuse Madi? So you know who Madi is.
So is she a front, or does she run the empire?
She's not the one primarily. She's of course protected by several people behind.
Because I think when I look at that woman on the physical, she doesn't look like she runs the empire. She looks like the front to that empire, because at her in Ngara, 13 million, the narcotics, the bangi, and all these things. There's a better way. She's arrested walking in town. How?
But you
That's
know
very
what?
interesting.
I've got one thing to say, that in this world, and what a lot of people don't understand, there's nowhere in the world where hustlers run the government. Nowhere in the world. There's two types of people who run governments. The very, very, very rich, like really rich, and drug dealers. So you have to choose the mafia or the very rich. And I think right now as a country, we need to choose, and I think citizens need to be aware. Do you want to be led by the very rich people who have a stake, something to lose, or do you want to be run by a mafia? Because if surely somebody, you say you know this lady, she's been running, you know, we heard about the Akasha brothers and all that. The police know them, they cannot arrest them. You know, it's a high time people just understand these truths, that power is with two people, either mafia or the very people who are on the straight and narrow and they have money, period. That's all I have to say.
So can I just say something? Talking about bangi, marijuana, so to speak, you know, in many, many countries in the world, they realize it has medicinal purposes, and especially cancer. Like, for example, I'm a cancer survivor, and many people were saying, you know, why don't you smoke a joint or something? It takes the pain away. And they made it, especially in America, California, and many states where it is actually legal. What are your thoughts about if the government legalized it, but controlled it?
Well, that would be interesting. Actually, that might take the stigma away. But Wajakoya, why have you not spoken about Madi, by the way? And he was even here, and he knows if he was out here even trying to legalize marijuana. If he's trying to legalize marijuana, he is aware. One of the kingpins was Madi. Even me as a normal Kenyan citizen, I'm aware of her. But the main thing, even when it comes to legalization, is this. Legalization, even in the States, primarily what's happened is that it's legalized, but there's a lot of taxes involved in everything. Then now what happens is the legalized weed is actually now more expensive than the one on the streets. So now the drug dealers have now adjusted to now changing their price range so that now they can actually now still make their margins. And of course the legalized people can still make their margins. And then, but it removes the whole stigma aspect. But you know, here in Kenya, we're still like, bangi! Mtoto wa guy, you bangi, whatever. And there's still that stigma aspect of it all, but that would take some time. Even you saw how many people voted for Wajakoya, apart from me, but I did. True story.
But do we not need to deal with the alcohol problem in central Kenya first? Do we not need to have a system? Because we don't even have structures that are dealing with alcohol. Then you want to bring on marijuana? We will be asking Haitians to actually come and help us here, other than us. You think? Yes.
Dr. C, you know, this central province and alcohol thing is a political thing.
Explain.
It's a political thing because when you look at the data, it shows that in Kenya, central and western, we drink the same numbers of alcohol. It's only that in central, they put other things. In western and Nyanza, they drink traditional brews, which is not laced. In central, they've decided to lace it. But the drunkards are the same. So what has happened is that central feel that this problem is actually theirs. It is not true. The problem of alcoholism is across the country. People are just, if you go to Rift Valley, it's the same thing. So it is a political thing just meant to be seen as us people from Central, we are the ones who have this problem with alcohol, which is not true. The data shows that Western, actually, Nyanza, people use more alcohol than even in Central.
But how come the Central people have just become cabbages, like on the street? They're just lying on the street, they are not marrying, even the birth rate is down.
Because of lacing it. You see, when you go to Western, they'll drink busa, changa, legit. In Central, someone will shortcut the direction and lace it with something else.
So we are more honest
For business.
from Western.
For business, yeah. For business. So now, that one is what is affecting them, not the drunkenness. It is that they are drinking substandard brews. But on Western and Nyanza, they are drinking the same brew, but it is at the level with the health standard.
Oh,
but it's traditional.
Oh, so my Central people just need to now raise their standard.
Yeah, just raise the standard.
Raise your standard of
But then
drinking.
let me come back
Drink
to
some
this issue.
Samantha wines, right?
Yes.
Let's talk. This Bangi thing, and I agree, Wajakoya should have come and said,
Yeah.
release Madi or what.
Or just speaking.
But
He
my
disappeared.
problem-
He never came
He
up.
never came up. But my problem with this issue of Bangi, I know today, and this is research, most Nairobi girls below 25 smoke weed.
Why girls even?
No,
Yeah.
most girls.
Where do you get those stats from?
Where are these
Wait,
stats
you said
from?
how many? What percentage?
Under 25, most Nairobi girls smoke weed.
Say over 51%.
You mean over
Yes,
18 and
over 18
under
and
25?
That's true. That's true.
They,
But
more
how do
than
you know?
men,
How
more
do you
than
know?
boys.
That's true.
They meet more girls. in
Yeah, that's true.
More boys. Boys do not smoke weed as girls in the city.
Go on with your thoughts, but
I find
I'll
this
allow
very
you to go on with your thoughts, but continue.
But, and if you take that research, you'll see that many girls, they don't over smoke weed. They smoke it for recreation.
Yes.
They don't smoke it to get into that zombie stage. They don't abuse it. They smoke it as the way they do shisha. Most young men misuse the drug. They actually abuse it. So that's why you find them, they look dirty and all that, because they oversmoke it, they do it wrong. Most of Jamaicans, musicians, they smoke it as a cultural thing. It is smoked in a certain way, and you can't smoke more than one or two. So they are very well connected with it, and they look at it religiously, not like us people who want to smoke it just to get high or to banish bad thoughts. But it is good. The discussion should be, should we legalize it? I think that this discussion has been there for a very long time. Legalize weed, but put a channel of how it should be smoked. Just make it like cigarettes in a certain way. Make it pure. Make it where you can access it in clubs like in Netherlands, where you can find it in a certain place. You smoke it there, you leave it there, and you can't over-smoke it. Create a channel of how people who use it can use it decently.
But also for the medicinal purposes, I was saying, because there is CBD oil that you can actually take drops for.
Yes.
And I got some in South Africa.
Yes.
Pure drops of CBD oil. Just put one on your tongue. I slept 12 hours. Literally just, it may put me to sleep. So I took one drop at night, and that was also helping me when I was in hospital. And it was absolutely fine. Zero side effect, and that was the whole thing. If it's taken controlled by
That's what I'm saying,
by doctors, for
Yes.
example, you can buy it legally. And what are you taking it for? It has been proven to cure cancer.
That's interesting. You see why Jacoya's message was resonating, and you're just like,
No,
what?
the problem
And
is
I like
the problem is how Wajakoya.
yes, the packaging.
Packaged.
I see what you mean, because even what you're saying about legalizing, even I want to go a step further, because when you actually restrict people from doing the thing that you want, they either overdo it in extremes because they're not doing it within the realms of being able to understand, this is what I'm doing, but I'm not going to do it over extreme. For example, we know alcohol is there, but don't overdo it because you're going to end up or like, hungover and everything. There's of course side effects of overdoing anything. But when you now legalize it and actually now put realms and restrictions
And
around
controls.
it, you're now able to
Yes.
now, if you're not even regulate, but people are able to now engage from a place of knowledge, knowing that I'm actually doing this for this purpose. When I'm done, I get out and I continue with my life so I can become a productive member of society, not become that person that you're speaking about out there in the streets and not reproducing out in this world.
But also remember, but you remember one thing as well, when things are illegal, for some people it's more exciting,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
So there are more consumers on the
Stuff.
illegalities of stuff, exactly. So if you legalize it, suddenly it's, oh, this is boring now.
It's boring, yeah.
You know, so that's why I feel. I mean, I feel strong about things like with Bangi that it should be legalized, especially like I said for the medicinal purposes.
Okay, yeah, that's a very
For
interesting thing.
but it's already legalized for medicinal purposes, like morphine, you know.
Yeah.
You can,
Yeah, but morphine's not CBD. We're talking about Bangi.
But it's strong. It's strong. You
It's-
cannot just get morphine everywhere.
No,
There's
correct.
a pharmacist has to deal with it. So it's already legal that you actually can use it for medicinal purposes, and it's available.
Not in Kenya though. It's right now. It is not available in Kenya.
Yeah, but not to be found in a kiosk. We're
No,
not
no, no.
talking about that
You see why?
legalization.
You see why I
Ngara.
don't have. You see
Yeah,
why?
in Ngara, especially in Ngara, in someone's house.
You see why I don't have a. I don't really have a lot of problem. And 420 is actually when everyone smokes bang on that
Of
day.
course.
420.
So you know.
And
you are-
what
you are
is
there.
that?
You don't,
What is 420?
No.
I don't know what is 420.
No.
Listen, I'm a village girl.
Ah, no. Dr. Z,
What
no.
is 420?
We'll be right back right after this, okay? Well, let's be real. Keep it locked right there. We will be right back as we inform Dr. C on what? For 20 years.
I'm not a member of 420 though.
New Superstay Vinyl Ink from Maybelline, New York. Shake up your long wear with no budge vinyl color. Color lock formula. Up to 16-hour wear. New Superstay Vinyl Ink, Maybelline, New York.
Welcome back on Let's Be Real. Thank you so much for sticking with us. I'm your host, Simon Says, and indeed, I was having a discussion about 420. Dr. C, hey, you had shocked me, even I stopped. I had to stop. You know, it's a rite of passage when you actually go through campus for you to actually engage in such. Ask any young person out there. But when it comes to 420, it's one of the time where actually someone even takes their joint, and at the same time, April 20th is usually a time where now even weed smokers and marijuana smokers even come together in a solidarity, even in unity, all around the world. Even Snoop Dogg is our leader. Even he
Our
would know.
leader.
I'm not a member of
He would
420.
know, he would know. He denies it, but we know where he is. But indeed, that's actually a time,
That's very
420 is usually the time where you actually smoke a joint, or even April 20th at the same time. It's time we've been celebrating the herb, the marijuana.
It is a
The
herb.
herb.
Exactly.
It is a herb.
Celebrating
I just want to
the
tell you
herb.
something very interesting. So going to school in Denmark,
Yes.
I went to school 1 hour south of Copenhagen on Zealand. And part of our curriculum was we had to do this exciting day trip as a teenager to Copenhagen.
Yes.
And off we go, 2 school buses, garang, garang, all of our classmates together. And we're very excited because we have been taken to an island outside of Copenhagen called Christiania. So the Danish government, very smart, actually realized that in the 70s, you had all these guys lying around, completely stoned, smoking dope, whatever. And they cleaned up Copenhagen and say, look, guys, we can't have this happening to our country. We're going to give you an island, and there you can do what you want to do. So all of these guys are now living on Christiania, and it has become trendy. But the point was, we were taken there as teenagers, and our teachers told us, you know, there is marijuana everywhere, and you guys are free to do what you like here. Basically, if you want to smoke a joint, you can smoke a joint. It's good for your experience, your education, to actually try it and see and learn. What you do in Christiania remains in Christiania. Yeah, so that was actually, I came back and I told my mother, you know, was born and raised in Tanzania. She was horrified. She went to complain to the teacher. But going back today,
And you did smoke weed at that
I
time?
did. I tried it like everybody else. We had to try it. It was part of our experience, you know.
Enlightening experience.
And nobody has
And-
told me.
Yeah, what's up?
And you're giving my little girl a joint experience on weed.
Literally, it was a joint
I'll
experience because we
fight
were,
you.
we were all
You do what?
I'll fight you. I'm gonna fight you.
Yeah,
to
you
the
don't say
high
that to an
level.
African mother. An African mother.
Yes.
Walla, la,
I'm
la,
gonna,
la.
like, I will physically come and strangle you physically myself to my satisfaction until you breathe.
Now
out.
then, can you see the luya coming out?
Yes.
The luya has just come out from Dr.
Like
C's
fire, kuna moto pale.
mouth. It's just like mimi ni ule mama wa Kiafrika ndakunyonga.
Na kunyonga
Myself.
kabisa.
Surely.
Yeah.
No
Okay, let's-
mercy.
Proceed.
Let's move on. Let's move on. Simon,
Yes.
this is a very interesting thing which happened last week. A woman who is living with a husband who provides for him everything is worried that this man might be setting her up and might leave her. Do women really like a man who really provides everything, or do they think it's a setup?
First of all, that's a very interesting question, because do women really know what they really like in the first place? because it's the thing. It's like you want this. You know, for example, the provision. She has the security.
Yes.
The guy even has been able to build himself up to the extent that he can be able to offer security
Yes.
and be able to even give her the lifestyle she wants, to the extent that she doesn't even have to worry about ever exerting herself to becoming even an independent
what?
woman, even actually even working so hard. You don't have to do it, but you can do it either way. But now here's the thing, because that comes now with a lot of, the mindset of a woman is like looking at, it's too comfortable here. I need to find an issue where there's no issue, because the instability
Look at the way
of
Dr. C
comfort,
is looking at you.
the instability of comfort is destabilizing me. I love trauma. I love issues. I am a woman. This is too comfortable. Guys, that's literally what it is. And I've even seen that. And many men out there, you're out here trying to build yourself up so you can actually get that girl. Then you get that girl, then all of a sudden, that girl starts giving you issues. That's even what I say. Before you invite a girl in your life, boss, be prepared to accept issues in your life and be able to handle your own issues first, because issues will come even when there's peace. Hey, why can't you just let a man be in peace? He's already offered you even the life good enough. What is wrong, women?
There's
Tell
nothing
us.
wrong.
I would also say, no, she's,
I have something to actually say. Let
say
me tell
it.
you, that sentence,
Yes.
that complaint, if you take it at face value,
Yes.
then you're going to interpret it in that way. But yes, I do agree sometimes it's a mindset problem, like you're saying, but it's a very, very high level advice. Okay? Just the other day we discussed about this footballer who at the end of it all, she discovered, the wife discovered, it's the mother who controlled everything.
Yes.
yeah.
So the one thing I want to tell the women, in fact, there's no medal that you worked so hard and everything. If there's a man looking after you and he tells you go home and, do what women are meant to do, but with one eye open.
Eh?
Yeah, it has to be one eye open.
Why?
Those titles, all those things, in whose name are they? First of all, me, I will only do it, put all of them in my name. Then I sit pretty. Some of these girls are being told to sit at home, and there's so many examples, so many examples, where the women are told, you just sit at home, do everything, I'm just going to look at you, and yet we know the law. The law is such that in the case of a divorce, there's almost a 75 or 50% chance right now in Kenya that you're going to get divorced. Those are the statistics. Why would you walk into a door like that without any kind of formal security? So that's what she meant. That sometimes you're bamboozled there, you're just okay, but actually when hits the roof, whatever it is, it will really stink, because you have nothing. You've never worked. You have nothing on your CV. It is terrible. And then you stay there because of you're being looked after. You can't go anywhere because you have no ability. Some of the most difficult women to actually put down are the women who can look after themselves. Yeah? And therefore, this man is systematically disempowering you in a certain way. So I would say women only accept that, this looking after, when you're really, really, truly looking after me, like my names are on the title, yeah? Legally, really on the title, so no court is going to ask what is your contribution, because this country apparently looking after children and staying at home and ensuring your mind is, the man's mind is free to go out there and be the breadwinner, it is not recognized in the situation of a divorce. And I have to really warn Kenyans that earlier on I said, Budapest, Hungary has one of the lowest birth rates. In those days, in the 60s, 70s, the women just refused. Unless you make it good for us, we're not going to give birth. And the population is going low and low and low and low. Right now, there's a lot of incentives. You even get a free house if you can just give us 3 children. The women are still not giving birth.
Times have changed, but I think I would also like to say to all of those women out there that if you have a husband who wants to care for you, provide for you financially, and says, you know, you just sit home and make sure that you do all the domestic chores and you've got nothing to worry about financially. Yes, I agree. Make sure that your name's on the title deed, on the logbook, whatever you own out there, your jets, helicopters, whatever.
Everything.
Everything. And also I would say that, you know, I would like to encourage is if you are staying at home, you've got a lot of time on your hands. So it's not just about going to the gym, drinking tea, hanging out with the girls, lunching, but you can do an online course. Educate yourself. Do something, train yourself to something that you've always wanted to do. Like, for example, I want to study a certain subject, or I want to improve my IT skills. You can do all these online courses. So grow. That's one thing that I would like to say.
Something interesting. Even maybe I want to hear your take on this. I've listened to this conversation very keenly. I was listening keenly. And now it's become the man's problem because he has actually offered security, because he has actually offered provision, and now it's his fault, and now he's the one who's actually now done the wrong thing to actually even provide this, rather than you women wake up. I love even how you wake your butt up and actually now get yourself something. Where is now the accountability towards the ladies? Where is the accountability towards now you as a woman to stand up and actually go out there because you have this fear? So what? There's an individualistic aspect to you, even when it comes to a relationship aspect. You are now blaming the man for doing a good thing.
Because they are supposed to look after us, but sometimes they just become cantankerous.
Exactly, and that's okay. And it's okay to be there.
And I guess advising the women that, this man is looking after you, which is okay, and it's a good thing.
He's doing a good thing.
In fact, that is his job. It's a good thing.
Yes.
But there are too many cases of women actually ending up on the street. And women need to know the law. In case of a divorce, for you to share the matrimonial property, you must show the contribution, unless your name is on it. If it's not on it, you're going to end up, not even Madare, because you cannot even afford a unit in Madare. You'll be on the street. I don't even know, I don't know what to say about you. Don't be fooled.
What I've learned is that for you to be a man, you must have 3 things which are very important from this conversation.
Only 3?
You must manage your anger to stay married.
Yes.
You must really manage your anger to a level where, number 2, you must be very stupid to remain married.
I forgive you. It's okay. So
you must
still
be
married.
stupid. Yes.
Congratulations on your stupidity.
Because if you are too clever, you see the way Dr. C is saying, they want you provide, they want the names and the titles, they want you to go to school. You have to do everything. And everything means literally everything. And they still will sleep with one eye open. You understand? So you must be very stupid.
Like a man.
Then the 3rd thing I've realized is that you must say always you're sorry then. Because now that man, that man who has provided all this, when this woman brings a ruckus, causes a ruckus in the house, the man must just say, I'm sorry, I will provide. I've provided this house, I provided this. What else do you want? The names. I'm sorry, I'll include. Then he includes. Then the woman will come with the new demands. The demands will never cease to end.
That's true. And then when you as a man do not qualify the demand, it's not necessarily why is not the demander not being held accountable for all these demands that even they are making, first of all? Because this is the relationship aspect of it all, right? You as a demander at the same time, I have to also get you, okay, cool, you're demanding this. What are you willing to do for this demand to actually be met? That's now my accountant, for example. Now there's that aspect of it all. And at the same time is, with all these demands that you're making of me, of course, when you demand something, there is something that will be taken from you. And either it can come from the aspect of there's some dominion, even some power that even a guy would respect from you.
I'm gonna
When
give you children. Let's start there.
Oh, congratulations! You could, that's good. That's good.
I'm gonna make it easy for you. Yeah?
Easy.
Easy.
With
In
all
terms
these
of you
demands.
come home, there's peace of mind. I'm going to entertain your business partners, and I'm going to encourage you, and together we're going to soar to great heights.
But that, we talked about gender equalities the other day and why women were getting paid less. That is the thing, that if you are in a relationship, which is marriage, they should be, everybody's 50-50.
No. That 50-50, forget it. They cannot be 50-50.
You want more?
I don't think girls, honestly, I don't think girls should actually be cheated into this. Let's look at even the most advanced economy, even like America. The most advanced, and the women who are really at the top. There's something that even childcare takes away from you. Yeah? You have to stay at home, look after this child, and by the time you come back, your male counterparts have already overtaken you. Already in that economy, there's an imbalance. When you look at board representation, higher level representation in terms of higher paying jobs, and even in Kenya here, we saw men are still being paid more. So I think so that men should just take their responsibility. These women accepting this 50-50 thing is completely not true. A man should really play his part, and even a bigger part.
So the
Yes.
best thing is we just do a prenup. I think it's the best thing.
There's
So
that.
for every child I give you
Yes.
a certain number of millions, you need to deposit in my account first.
Wow.
That can, yeah.
You mentioned 50-50.
It's business.
I want to hear your side. I want to hear your side.
Well, you know, basically, you're in a marriage, and again, from a Danish perspective,
Go ahead.
there are many Danish couples in marriage or relationship living together, and they have their own accounts. They do not have joint accounts. She has her account, he has his account. And then when they have children, the child has its own account, so they start saving up for that child. They split the chores. For example, there you don't have house help, as we're so blessed to have here. They split the chores, and actually the husband is the one who normally will do more. So he will go to work, or he will do the shopping on the way back home, and he'll come home and cook.
They'll wash the dishes.
Your husband
wash the
will
dish-
cook.
Very well.
Yes, and
yeah,
wash
a
the
lot of
dishes.
European men
As-
will
They
wash,
wash
and
the
dish
dishes,
and cook,
they
and
do everything.
Look at the shock on his face.
Yes.
Yes. She compares
How
them.
will tell you?
And I can tell you
them.
there are a lot of
Lisa.
Kenyan men. There are a lot of Kenyan men who also enjoy to cook. They are just sometimes they don't like to talk about it.
Listen.
Yes.
Ni
It's true.
tabu.
Listen.
Sema.
Listen.
Hapa
Nasikia.
Kenya,
Nasikia. Nasikia.
hapa
Ndio.
Africa is our business.
Yeah, but today is 2023. Yeah,
2023.
Now how
We have enough
We are-
and the men
Listen.
and the men now imagine they're finding the way to
Listen.
the kitchen. Lakini
Can you
unataka
imagine?
kikombe ya kahawa, enda pale
Can
tafadhali
you
tengeneza
imagine
mwenyewe.
I,
Eh.
CEO,
Enda
can-
tengeneza mwenyewe.
imagine I, CEO Charles Otieno,
Yes.
in my splendor. Someone like Dan has come to visit my home.
Yes.
Mimi nang'ang'ana kwenda kupika
In
ugali.
fact, we're
Yes.
overall, you're the one roasting the meat.
In fact, you would be
Dan Imani, my
bringing
friend
the
from
omena.
Espresso, has come to my home. So mimi napofunga nini kwenda kupika?
Eh.
Hiyo ni mchezo bwana.
Yes.
Tusidanganyane.
Don't you ask, and then you think, and
You
then
know
now-
what?
Wait, let me ask you.
I
also.
might actually
And
next
then you
time.
want to go 50-50.
Now, wait.
Hiyo ni
After
mchezo
I'm the
bwana.
one in the kitchen doing everything, you still want to go 50-50.
I've given you
Kenyan men are not
bwana,
ready
hiyo
for
ni mchezo
50-50.
bwana.
No.
Next time I see you, I'm going to gift you an apron.
Wow.
A cooking apron.
A cooking
With your
apron.
name.
How?
Tapewa wewe zawadi.
Sitaki.
I love this. This is so
Let's
wait,
move on.
But even when we talk about this discussion about 50-50, there are people who never even split even 50-30, not even 90-10, because they'll leave you hanging dry. Those people that you sometimes call friends and you're stuck in a rut. Sometimes, you know, many Kenyans will actually go out there, they want to help you out. You start now getting a hospital bill and you start saying, Changeni, we are stuck. We know our family member has actually been stuck in the hospital. We have this hospital bill. You open the WhatsApp group, you start now putting people in, and you're there all of a sudden, you're like, okay, now let's start. Crickets. Nobody wants to actually even help you contribute or anything. Then there is that ratio, bam, then everybody brings you in, and you know, everybody brings in all these contributions, so on and so forth. But then when it comes to now, let me buy you a glass of wine, let me buy you a drink, they are right there, ready to actually do that. Then the question is, why are we Kenyans so adamantly to indulge, even help each other people indulge in not necessarily things that will actually help them in real life, and then not helping people in the things that we know will be really like helpful, crucial, your health, or even real like education, you're contributing towards something. And then that goes even further, do you really have real friends in today's society?
That's very true. You need to look at it. For what is the difference between friendship and acquaintances?
What's the difference to you?
The difference is that I've got many acquaintances. I would say hundreds of acquaintances because I'm a social girl, and I meet many, many people in my work, in my line of what I do, lifestyle, etc. And there are many people that want to be your friends, but they're not authentic. And those are acquaintances. Real, true friends are the ones who will be there. Like when I was lying on my deathbed in South Africa, friends who flew down from Nairobi to Johannesburg to see me. They came to say goodbye because they thought I was going, but they didn't know me. But that's a true friend, for example, yeah? But all the ones, and those who will help you in a crisis, those who really know you, like what are you going through? I can see that you're really not in a good space. How can I help you? And have a private conversation that you know is not going to be repeated out there on social media. Because so many people, they rejoice when things are going downhill for you. They're really happy that you are not succeeding. They're really happy that you didn't get that promotion. They're really happy that you get divorced. But when it comes to understanding that if I'm a true friend and I am a successful person and you're rejoicing on my behalf, you can actually ride with me and benefit from that success as well. So those are the true friends.
Do you think that you have any true friends you can count on right now? And then what qualities have you seen in them to even actually say that, okay, this is a true friend of mine?
I think if you have more than two friends who you can really say they are your true friends, you're a very lucky person. A very, very lucky person. But actually coming back to the topic of the day is because, you know, we are talking about hospitals and we're talking about funerals. Why are people willing to contribute to a funeral bill and not willing to help you even when you're in hospital, but they're willing to give for your death? So very earlier on in my life, I developed a philosophy. And I think it's a philosophy many people should develop about paying more attention to the experiences we have with people when we are alive, as opposed to, we need to change this our funeral culture.
Why?
Why are we spending so much money on funerals when we could have spent that money on experiences when you were alive?
Exactly.
But then here's the thing. You don't know when you're going to die, so you're saying now treat almost every moment with you as if it's your last? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, and anyone who has actually ever lost a relative, especially when it was so abrupt, like through a road accident, whatever, you always then become aware that, you know, right now we are talking, it may be the last. So am I being kind to you? Or am I saying words? Or am I not treating you in the way that I can live with?
But
so we have to be aware of that. And I think so that this brings a really big difference in terms of when we see, for example, tourists coming into Kenya, and we think these people must be so rich from wherever it is they come from. One major difference I've noticed about the Western culture and the African culture, the Westerners start paying for their holidays like 2 years in advance. So when they come to Kenya, they've really saved, and they're more on experiences, not big on, we must live in this really big house with a big garden, and if you can, it's okay. But people pay more attention to today, me and you today. You know, why should I even come to your funeral when I've never even talked to you for 15 years?
For the rice, for the food.
Yeah, you see
For
that.
the ugali.
There's that. And that's the truth.
And
For
the
the
thing
ugali
is,
that
Yes.
Charles has cooked.
there is an inverse proportion when you look at these cultures, how they treat their dead and how we treat our dead. You know, I think I shared with you, I was going to for my mother-in-law's funeral, which we called a memorial. And as a family, we don't mourn in the same way. We do cremation. And then we wait during summer when everybody else can make their way to Europe. And we go to the summer house, which is on an island. And we plant a tree and we put it down, and it's very close family people. There's zero expense, other than the expense you're spending, maybe to go to the summer house and everybody brings a potluck, and there's a little, I showed you the photo, a little table there, and some flowers. That's what we did for my father-in-law, even now for my mother-in-law. Both died at 96. They've lived their life. So why should you guys be spending 3, 4, 5 million Kenya shillings? That's about 50,000 euros for a funeral, when that money can actually comfortably get accommodation for somebody, or spend on education, spend on experiences that count for humanity.
Exactly. Memories that you
Humanity.
can bank on.
Ask you, even I just want to ask you, I want you to speak on on the cultural aspect of this way. Do you think culture now should change because
Listen.
of that?
I think I have no problem with people spending lots of money on funeral.
Really?
I have never had a problem. Let me state it very clear. Personally, I advocate for big funerals.
Oh, tell us why.
And I will tell you why. My mother passed on in 2016. 2016. I was living with her. I had spent all my money taking care of her. And then she passed on. In African funeral, all my friends came. And my friends who came, they contributed a lot of money. That money, I flew the body to Kisumu and took the body to the village. Of course, I did the biggest banquet as a farewell. Why do we do it as an African? Because remember, my friend who has given me 20,000 for the funeral, another one has given me 30,000. Another one has traveled all the way from Tanzania on his own expense. I want us to put it, to lay it down in levels. People travel far and wide to come to be with you at your lowest moment. That time, your mother is there. You've spent all your money in the hospitals and you've paid everything. You are dry, out and dry. Completely, you have no money. Then these people have come together and collected all the money, you've bought coffin, you've bought the traveling, you've done all this, and you even bought food. Remember, the money they contribute is what buys all this food. It is not your money. It is not your money. This money comes from these people who bring it to you to have a good send-off. We are just doing a send-off. It is just a life experience to us. So now, when it comes to that time, you slaughter 3 cows, 4 cows, you buy. Dr. C cannot travel from Nairobi to my homestead and I don't give him proper food, the way she would supposed to eat in 5-star. That's what I'll provide. In African culture, what we advocate, and that's what I advocate for, it is wrong if the family of the bereaved spend their money. That is wrong. Traditionally, the houses where people had died, they never even cooked. But the neighbors brought all the food. Even in Central Province, where people used to eat rice and vegetables, has changed. Nowadays, they do catering. If you go to Central today, there is a whole catering unit. They never used to eat in Mata because they've realized, why would I come all the way from Kisumu or from Mombasa to be with you at your lowest moment? I don't know where I don't know where I will sleep. I don't know how I'll go back. I've spent my money to come. I've even contributed, and then you'll expect me to leave. The best we can provide as Africans has always been something to eat. And we'll provide it. So there's a way we look at this thing with a different lens. We look at it from outside. But if you are the person involved in it, your relative or has passed on, there's an accident, some people have collected him and taken him to, and he's passed on, and many people come out. And I would see, even the villagers you see in those areas who have nothing, an old woman will come with 2 tins of maize and say, these 2 tins is what I used to know this lady who are passed on. And I would see during my mother's funeral, people who without anything would come with stuff. They came with, someone comes with a goat, someone comes with something, this person who is passed on had impacted very many people in their lives. Those people who impacted come to send him off. And they also bring things to send him off. So there's always a disconnect here. That we think that our funerals are too big and we don't help. No. We help where we can. But remember also, the flip side has always been, if this man was a bad person, no one brings food.
That's true.
That's
now
very true.
You see, there's that unity aspect.
No one brings food.
You see, there's
No one brings anything.
Everybody, you're just there like, what just happened? Like,
So the family struggles with it alone. But if
Exactly.
he was a decent man or a woman, things will come.
That's
Absolutely.
even true, because even I can attest, even when my mom passed, even she passed with cancer, we flew back from the States. Now I got to even know how many people that she even knew here, because I was ignorant of it. Like even now, how many people even like she impacted, even she taught several people,
Yes.
oh, I was a student from your mom, whatever. That aspect, that's within, now that's what I realized now, give me awareness of like the impact of someone, you actually
Yes.
see it at their
Death,
funeral.
yes.
And then now the bad side of that Western culture is the fact that now you're on your own.
Yes.
You're on your own, like that's you, that's on you. There's no sense of community, there's no sense of, I'm able to see how wide-reaching this person's impact was, how wide-reaching this person was actually loved, and who actually even cared for this person. Even if they just had, it was that lady who my mom chose to buy the cabbages from, that she used to, she used to be my customer, she used to constantly come and do whatever, that, and then now she found the time to close her business,
To come.
come to the funeral,
Yes.
and actually now say that indeed I am offering my appreciation, even my respect, by actually now showing my presence in me being actually there. Now that's the good thing, even I would even say that's where the good aspect of our culture now comes into stance. And that's something that's actually something
But I would also like to say something like here. My mother, when she was alive, she would always say, bring me flowers while I'm still alive for me to enjoy. Because once you're gone, you're gone. You know? And that's where I think is one thing that we should all remember. It's about celebrating life while you're still alive. You know? So buy flowers, buy chocolates. Dr. C, you brought us chocolates today. Thank you very much.
Where are they?
Where are those chocolates? Someone throw one chocolate. I would like a chocolate. Throw one real quick.
So we move on to the next topic?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah. So the next topic.
We got distracted about the chocolates.
Oh, great.
Let's have some chocolates.
They look great.
They're wrapped up. You gotta dig. Yes, exactly.
They're seriously wrapped.
Yeah.
Seriously wrapped one.
Thank you
So
very
the next
much.
topic we are talking about polyandry.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, this is a topic we've had before on this show.
Thank you.
And it was that there was a Tanzanian woman who was living with like 3 men.
Ah.
And all, yeah, we've had that topic.
Okay.
And so the question is, you know, there was a time of, you remember Joseph in the Bible who would just even see a woman and just run away?
Uh-huh.
Do these kind of men still exist? But we want to talk about why polyandry is very common now. But even before we start talking, I have to say that when I was away, I met, he's a friend of ours, he's in a band called the Dugas, Christopher, who incidentally grew up in Tanzania. And
Like
it was
me.
Tanzania, like yourself. And it was a very interesting arrangement because his mother, who was American, there were many Americans who actually left earlier in the century who were running away from, I don't know, whatever it is, and some new government directives. And so they came all over Africa. There was that Biafra war, and they did not support. Yes, that was the thing. She came because they did not support that the American government was supporting the Biafra war. So they were meant to go to the army, and a lot of young people said, no, we are not going. So they left the country a lot, and she was one of those. So she settled in Tanzania, and she had like 3 husbands. 1 Danish, 1 German, the other one French.
Wow, cocktail.
Yes. 3 at a go. At a go. And she was running all of them at a go.
What a
And
clever
she's
woman.
still alive. They live together as one big family. So one of them just, was it early 2000 died of prostate cancer. The other one, there's one who is still alive. The French one is still alive because even this summer she was in, yeah. And the German one, I don't know, had died much earlier. But she ran these 3 men.
Hey.
Yes.
Ran.
These three men.
She was
And you
Tanzanian.
saw Christopher. No, she's not Tanzanian. She's originally American. So the three husbands, one was German, Danish, and French.
She was actually officially married to each one.
Well, they were in one big asharam or whatever you use.
Haram.
Ashram, whatever you call it,
One
one
big
big
happy
family.
family.
Yeah? And yeah, they were like family. Yeah? She had children. Nobody has done actually DNA. You're not allowed to do. But you can see so and so looks. So they are one big family, by the way. Yeah?
Incredible.
Very, very creative family. She's a prolific painter, and she's still alive. She's still with one of them, but they're still together. The family is big, and they're still together. And I sent you a video on the group you saw. Yeah. So why is it rampant, and what can we learn from that?
Well, I think it's all up to your individual self. Is this that you want to control three men? I would find that exhausting.
Yes.
Right?
Go on.
You'll have three men that will refuse to go to the kitchen and cook.
I would never.
They would all be taking
again,
turns.
it clearly also we're going back to culture. This is a completely diverse, different culture. It's Western, and they've come to this agreement. They've come to an understanding, and it's clearly it worked for all four of them. It must have been a win-win situation for them to agree that there's this one woman, the matriarch, so to speak, and she has three different men. Which one on Wednesday, one on Friday, and maybe another one on Tuesday. So it's very individual how you would see it. I find it terribly wrong.
Why?
Just because that I think, you're one woman, you have one man.
Okay.
Yeah? So you're not, you're together. If you stick together, if I love somebody, I would find it very hard to love three different men equally at the same time.
Differently, not equally, differently.
But you love them
love
differently.
differently.
Yeah, but you know how you say that you're the one and only, you're the love of my life. You are the love of my life, Catherine. How can you each be the love of my life?
In a different way.
How?
Maybe, okay.
How?
In a different way. So, for example, like
Okay.
How?
you explain in a different
Yeah,
way.
how?
Yeah, how?
Okay, listen. Me, I'm a one woman,
One man,
kind of girl.
yes.
Don't get it twisted.
Make it
In
clear,
other,
right?
I'm making it clear for anybody
because
else
we
who
also know
thinks.
that Dr. C's is an amazing matchmaker.
Yes, I'm also a
Explain.
matchmaker. And anyway, you know what? There are
Not those
some
matches that light
countries,
a candle.
from a biological and a genetic point of view, apparently there are some advantages.
Uh-huh.
Yes. The woman becomes more prolific and produces more, the more quality over with that kind of experience. But that's, I've read about it, I'm not sure. But
No.
clearly, there are some countries where it is legal. Polyandry is legal.
Now,
Except, of course, Kenya, it's not legal.
But now here's the thing. When it comes to polyandry, even the way I've seen it with young people, even I've seen it like here and there, even exercised, most even in the Western society, is this. Mostly, it's not necessarily a profound, strong man that would actually agree to such a arrangement. A man who is leading, a man who actually even knows how to stand his ground, and even take the lead in a situation, would never be comfortable in that kind of setup.
the type A
And it
kind
has
of
yes, it has to be, and then it has to be a very submissive, oriented kind of guy who was not raised up with a strong, formidable a man to even look up to actually learn even how to lead even in such a setting. Now a woman like that, now the kind of women who takes to actually manage such guys, now she has to know how to cater to those two men's ego. Because those are two egos that are there at play. Three egos that are there at play. For example, you have to massage this person's ego, and this person's ego, and this person's ego. And then at the same time, you also have to know how to manage even all their libidos at the same time. That's on you. And now at the same time, even when you actually now manage all that, you also even have to now learn how do I communicate to Simon, Charles, and Jacob at the same time and let them know that indeed you are still valid to me. And then now I want you on my program, and you stay on my program, and then now and I'm running the program, and you are comfortable with the rules that I have set for this program, and have to manage all of that. Now, that requires a great level of technicality, and you have to be a different type of woman, and you have to be a different type of man for you guys to actually meet for this to actually work? Because in a normal setting,
No.
hell no. I am not in any way actually even now submitted to that, because that requires a lot of ego massaging, even managing a lot of things. But that's how you execute as a woman. You have to be a very strong-willed woman, and you have to be in a position of power, and you have to get, being honest, financially, you kind of also have to be above them.
No, they all provided, actually.
No, provided to what extent? To what extent?
You know, listen, the fact that how many years later, Christopher was, I don't know if he's the firstborn or not, but I know he's in his 50s or 50 something. He could be in his 50s, early 50s. The fact that the family is still together.
He's the son.
He's the son. The guy, yeah, he's the son. And the fact that he's there and he's talking very well about it. This woman really was the matriarch. She had rules for everybody. Everybody
she had
had
standards,
rules.
yeah. Okay,
she had
She must have
standards,
had.
and she ran the family, and everyone knew. Everybody knew, even these men are part of the family, and you know, and the children therefore. So it's one big family still. She had her rules. And anyway, we are talking about it because it's not something that is common in the world, but we have to expand our horizons and understand that there are various different arrangements that exist. And the woman we talked about earlier on was actually African, recent one. She was African, running 3 men.
So now,
Running 3 men.
so there are two things here. One,
Managing.
In a marriage.
there are two things here. The oldest trade in the Bible is also called prostitution. And it is allowed. It is allowed to be a prostitute. It is allowed.
You mean men or female prostitutes?
Either.
Okay.
It's allowed.
Yeah, but they both exist.
It's allowed to who?
If a man is
allowed.
running
No,
3
no, no.
women at a go, he's a prostitute.
Yes. I'm just
Whether
saying.
it's polygamous or not polygamous.
No,
he's a
I'll
prostitute.
coming. I'll come about polygamy. I just want to talk about this polyandry first.
See?
This polyandry, the first man to agree to a polyandry relationship must have a fundamental flaw in him. As men, the way we are created to compete. And to compete, even in animal kingdom, to compete for the female who you want to have your kids. And you don't want to share it. That's why lions kill each other if you come to their territory. That's why men build their homesteads. That's why you said men should provide. We must take that leading role. Any man who falls short of that has a fundamental flaw. And that fundamental flaw is what this lady must have exploited for you to toe the line. Because any man who is self-serving and who knows the rule would want 1 woman or 2 women for himself, or a harem of them for himself, and control that brood. The kids, the dogs, the cats in the house, it is your business and the house. And you know how to run it. So when you find 3 men who have agreed in a setup, one, they are weak men.
I agree. They cannot be
Extremely
alpha male.
weak.
There's no alpha male that would agree to that.
Extremely weak, lacks purpose, and they're just moving through the motion. They might be talented. That one we don't say. They might be highly skilled
In a specific task.
in a specific task. And they might be, for men, women, we say they are something tamized. You know, I don't want to say that word.
I know it.
So them is the opposite of that. So this woman might have proper bedroom skills that they do not know. When you imagine just leaving and going, you say, no, I have to go back there the next one more time.
Who was Wangu wa Mageri?
Wangu wa Makeri was a Kikuyu chief queen, and she ran. What she didn't have many husbands. What she did is, what she could do is to beat men and put them online
And sit on them.
and sit on them.
Yeah. But you know, I don't like what you've used the description, but it's everyone has freedom.
What's
Like
this?
weak
What am I
men.
saying?
He's
What is-
saying weak men. Just
It's
because you're of a certain predisposition doesn't make you strong or weak. You
Well-
are of a certain, let's use the word, these men must be of a certain predisposition. They are all creatures and they have their human rights. You know?
here's
They're
the
not
issue.
weak.
Here's the-
They
No,
just
but-
are
no,
of a
okay,
certain
now to see, here's the thing.
predisposition.
No, but I think it's a
Oh,
mental
no,
thing
I
we're
know
talking
that.
about. It's like, you know, an alpha male, he knows what he wants. Exactly what it said. You know, he would never allow, if you're his woman, you're his. He would not allow you, his woman, to have any other man, not one, two. No, you're his alone.
And they're going, and
He
you
would
are
never
living.
kubali that.
No, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, Dr. C, here's the thing. Amongst us men, we are comfortable being harsh with each other without reality.
Yes.
He's comfortable telling me, Simon, you have gone wrong here.
Yes.
And I take it that way.
Yeah.
We men communicate differently amongst us. We're more harsh and brutal. Now, you may take that as, oh, that's harsh language to him. You should not. No, 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 no. A man needs brutal language. You are weak. Wake up and actually stand up and grow
And
back
yes.
and actually stand up and actually rule and conquer the world and actually be a man about it.
But you
now,
know-
this whole, no, don't coddle men.
I'm not-
Coddling men is actually been a big epidemic that's led to actually now men like that. Coddling men actually now leads now.
But
That's what leads to the soft boy era.
this
Coddled
species-
men lead to coddled, coddled boys lead to coddled men.
This species actually exists.
Of those weak men.
No, don't call them weak. They just have a certain predisposition.
Weak needs to be there. There's a reason why weak is in the dictionary. It needs to be used.
Weak could be weak in terms of the energy level.
Mental.
Even you one day, oh, I feel so weak, I've been having malaria, something like that. So even if you're...
They're like wet rags, as we say. I call them wet rags. Come on, Mom.
They are
that was
people
nice.
of a certain predisposition.
I do. You know, and I always said this on one of my safaris. You have to hear this. You know, we were 22 at Cottons.
Cheers, by the way. Wet rags.
Come on, Mop. But let me tell you, you know, so this Dane was going around the table. Everybody had introduced himself, okay? Martin, I remember him, and then he came to me, the last person, as the organizer of this safari, and there were many Scandinavians on this particular safari to Cottons in the Mara. And he comes to me, Lisa, why aren't you married to a Dane? I looked at him, I thought that was a very brave question to ask me. So I asked him, do you know what a mop looks like? Because I find, and I'm generalizing, and I apologize to any Danish men out there, but generally I find Danish men very weak. They don't have backbone, they don't have stamina, they don't have that, that really strong alpha female. The general Danes that live in Denmark that never really have traveled outside of their village, those are the ones, Nikama mop, wet rags.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, that is profound.
Lisa, are you going to land in Copenhagen? You are going to be arrested at the airport.
No, 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 but
Why not?
Lisa,
I love
Freedom
it.
of speech,
No,
guys.
I
Freedom
love
of
it. I love
Freedom
it.
of
I love
speech.
it.
Yeah.
That's
No,
a new term I'm
it's-
going to use. Wet rag.
If you're wet, you're wet rag. If you can't stand up and choose your wife,
Yes.
Yeah.
and that you want someone to be... Now, when this man is sleeping with this woman,
Yes.
you're in the house, what will you be doing?
What are you thinking
Cleaning the
about?
floor. Like a wet rag.
So you're just saying,
One
finish.
is cutting the onion.
So you're just saying,
The other one-
when you finish, come and eat.
Sunday night, I'll be watching
I'll
Let's
be
Be Real.
Yeah, so next week, my friend,
Yes.
if you are a man
Yeah.
and you want to get into a polyandry relationship, just banish that thought. It is nonsense. It is stupid.
It is foolish.
It is not even allowed. Get yourself your own woman, provide and take leadership. It is not, it is offered to you, that is your job. Do not go and find another man so that you share. We don't share women.
What do we share?
We share our property. I think we end it, guys.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to end it.
Yeah.
On that wet rag note.
Yeah.
I think it has been an awesome discussion.
On that predisposition.
And this, if you're weak, you're weak. So, of course, it has been a very interesting conversation. Dr. C is back. Of course, Lisa, and she might not even land in Copenhagen. We stay in Nairobi. And of course, Simon says, it's Let's Be Real. Catch us every Sunday at 10 p.m. Keep watching.